Okay, today's video, we are going to talk about price anchoring in online advertising, how to do it to make money. Okay, so most of these videos that you're going to see on price anchoring are BS. Here's what the definition is. It's not actually going to tell you how to actuality use it to make money. And if you don't know what price anchoring is, to give you that and get that out of the way, price anchoring is essentially, there's different ways to do it, and I'm oversimplifying here, and I'll go into in detail on how this is actually done and set up. But it's simply when you take one price and you put a price out there to use as a decoy to get the price here to seem less than it otherwise would be if this price here was seen all by itself, okay? That's all it is. That said, there's many different ways to actually roll this out in reality, which is why I wanted to make a video specifically about price anchoring, and specifically having to do with online advertising, running ads on Google search, running display ads, updating your website so when you're driving traffic at your website, that your website makes more sales. As well as if you're doing services, we're gonna have content for you as well, that when you get to where you've generated the lead and you've presented the quote, if you will, or proposal for the client, you always wanna have more than one option. Because some people want to pay a lot, some people want to pay a little, and just by having a really high one, people will sometimes go for it. That's number one. But more importantly, it'll make the ability to raise your prices even more so, because you can have an expensive as hell option that makes an option that is now higher than that you were charging before more acceptable, more palatable, which is the main reason why you do it. So with that said, I'm going to go into the details on these different price anchoring techniques that I personally have used at our firm with different clients. We've worked with hundreds of clients at our firm in the last 10 years and tried using price anchoring many different times because it's one of our favorite tools to get more conversion from an ad campaign so we can scale it more. Of course, if we scale a campaign more, we get paid more at our firm. So of course, I'm going to pull this out and suggest it to the client anytime I can, because it's so effective and it will work a majority of business cases or use cases. So with that said, the first example I'm going to give here, where you have a Google search ad. This was done a lot back in the day. You don't see it so much anymore, but it still works just as good. The human psychology hasn't changed. What you do, we had a client who was in software. I didn't do this myself, but he was describing this himself, which is why I'm sharing it with you here. If you have, because I get told or asked all the time, if I'm making money with one Google search ads account, should I run another to get even more? And the answer to that is typically no, not at all. Competing against yourself is simply going to increase the acquisition cost from both accounts, and it's going to just even out at the end of the day. The only exception is when you could have one premium offer and one lowball offer or discount offer, because some percentage of that market that you're in is going to be cheap, and they're only going to go for cheap no matter what you do to sell quality. And there's going to be people that just are natural tendency, they're loaded, and therefore their tendency is to get quality, and they know quality is generally worth it. So if you have both offers, you're actually going to get more market share out of the whole than if you just had the one offer. As you're tying that and rolling that kind of system out, if you're going to want to make more out of your market, you can have one ad that just has, let's say, $9.99, which was what this guy that I talked to was doing with software. And then they would have another ad for a different company that they also owned that said free trial. So naturally, if you see one ad that says $9.99, one that says free trial, you're going to go and opt to immediately for the free trial. This $9.99 option is really just a decoy. It just gets people to see the free trial and see it has a higher value than it would otherwise if there wasn't one guy that was clearly charging for this PC cleaner. And so it was run not even trying to get people to buy anything, just to get more people to click on the free trial than they would otherwise. That's a perfect example of how to use price anchoring to make an ad campaign specifically better in a static area, where in an advertising space like Google search ads, but also could involve like magazine ads. If you're making money with one magazine ad, buy an ad space directly above it and pull the same kind of price anchoring game there. It'll actually generally suck out more demand that way. But is the only way that it's going to make sense to do that, because you can only have one good ad, one best ad with the best trigger points in there, except for when you can have something in there to make your ad look more attractive than it would be otherwise, and then you can make more money running 2 ads. So with that said, that's the perfect example of how to do price anchoring and actually make money from a real use case example that has worked well in the past. And if you're wondering in this example how much more this is going to get clicked, you're talking like twice as much click through than having the free trial by itself. It's massive. Way more. This works way better than you think it does. It actually works so good that Google cracked down on this back in the day, that if they saw that they knew you owned both of these companies, they'd shut both your accounts down, because tons of people were doing it because it's so damn effective. Anyway, the second example of price anchoring I want to talk about is related to your website itself. I know this is supposed to be about online advertising, but online advertising, half of the equation or more is how well can you convert on the click when it gets to your website, whether that be your landing page or your website. And what you always want to do in e-commerce is have whatever price you have a higher price that you know is too high for your market, be your default price on the site. Then you have a strike through, and then you have a lower price directly underneath it to get people to think the price that you actually want is a better deal than it would be otherwise. That's a more traditional style of price anchoring. And a variation of that would be, you could run on your ad, you could say Thanksgiving special, say 25% off. You drive them to your site and you have a hello bar, which is a bar that goes at the very top of your screen for like the first half inch on your screen that says Thanksgiving special, 25% off everything in store, use Thanksgiving 25. Guess what? Before you do that, you raise your prices by 25%, and that'll get you more conversion rate on the traffic that you're driving to your site basically every time. And in fact, I argue with clients all the time. They say, I don't want to take less margin or whatever. Well, raise your prices. Then you don't have to settle for less margin. But even if you had less margin, you will typically generally always make more money even still, because the ad, when it says Thanksgiving special and there's 4 ads, if we're talking about Google search ads, and there's 4 ads to pick from, your ad's going to get clicked at twice the rate than what it was before that without the Thanksgiving special on there, literally speaking. And then on top of it, you get them to your site, you're going to get a higher conversion rate, between 10 and 100%, somewhere in there, depending on your niche, because it builds urgency in the user's mind on top of it, respectively. And then you combine that with that, by the way, if you can, what I would recommend you do, it's a little difficult, but if you can have the price with the strike through and then it says 25% off for Thanksgiving, that's actually going to pull better, get you a higher conversion rate than just having a strike through and no reason for the price drop. Why? Because people believe discounts when there's a reason for the discount, so they know that you're not just offering this willy-nilly. So to take the whole price anchoring example that I gave you to the next level, put it on your ad, put it on the hello bar of your site, and then put it next to the actual strike through on the original price on your website, and you're going to get far more results than even the regular, strike through on the price is going to get you all on its own. This is going to be able to get you twice as much click through and at least 10, but more than likely 20 to 50% more conversion rates on your site to go along with it. And so we sold paint this way. We did it for the last 7 years. We played around not having it on there, which is the reason why I like bringing this example up, and it didn't convert nearly as well. This is just human psychology. It makes people think they're going to get something for nothing, and everybody wants something for nothing. Clients don't understand when you take off a discount like this and you try to put the original price on there and then that's it. The only reason why they were going for the price, the product to begin with, is because they thought they were getting a deal. Without the deal being there, you're not going to get the conversion anymore. So whereas we were starting off with the strike through on the price and then the discount, they try to get rid of the discount, just leave the price without the strike through and try to get more money out of them. The conversion rate went down a ton. The additional margin nowhere near made up for the fact of the reduction in conversion rate that went along with not getting rid of the price anchoring and the strike through on the price and then having a lower price underneath it. I could tell him that was the way that was going to work out and end up, but a lot of times clients just have to find out for themselves because they don't understand how human psychology works, having run lots and lots of experiments like this. Anyway, third example here is if you're doing a service. As I mentioned, I'd have something for you guys running services. This is something we do for our own firm, actually, just for full disclosure, but also we had a product design firm that, if you want to get a product made, you need that product design, put it into CAD, whatever. Like I mentioned before, you get the quote, and then you generate a form lead or a phone call in order to get a quote to the person, or where they request a quote. When you give them the quote, you never just give them one option, because you're going to make money multiple ways with more than one option. Mainly because, again, some people are just rich, crazy bastards, and they just want the most expensive one every time anyway. And like 10% of the market is that way. Big egos, whatever. And obviously you can't charge an unlimited amount, but you should have that top option should be at least double what the bottom option is. Generally speaking, the sweet spot is to have 2 and at the most 3 options. But what I found works the best is just 2, because the more options you get, there's a point where it's paralysis by analysis, and they'll make a decision at a lesser rate than if you just offered 2 options. But 2 options is generally always going to be better than just 1. Some of them will go with the more expensive option anyway, like I just said. But more importantly, it's going to make the bottom option that you really want them to go with, or the cheaper option, and where you can charge more money for the overall. But more important than that, it's going to get people to say yes more often. You're going to increase your closing rate on the sales, on the quotes that you're giving, a much higher percentage. We're talking massive numbers, converting twice as many deals when you have a price anchoring situation like this. You've got something that's up high here that's going to make the lower option seem cheap, whereas that option is not so cheap, but it only seems cheap because you're a firm that charges $7,000 a month. Holy shit! Thank God you have a $3,000 option available. And so you could play it 2 ways. You could try to charge more overall for your service using price anchoring. I would recommend for services, though, using it to just get a higher closing rate. And you will get a higher closing rate by having a more expensive option to offset price of your typical option you want them to go with. And most people will go with your lower priced option, of course, still, but they'll go with the lower price option a higher percentage of the time, and you'll get more of them per every 10 quotes that you give out. So there's that. Next option, if you're doing SaaS or software as a service, you'll see it all the time in that world. And you see it because people in that space usually have high-end marketing specialists helping them, and there's a lot of money in it. But what you'll typically always see on a software subscription site where you're buying access to that business software every month, they'll usually have 4 options, and the second option from the left is the one that generally gets picked the most, and you're going to be able to charge 30 to 100% more for all of the options in general than you're going to be able to charge for the one option if only one option was available, because they're going to see that expensive option, and that expensive option, again, is not going to make the second to the left option seem as high. So if you just offer your service, your software for $30 a month, it's not going to convert near what it is if you had a 100 a month option, 50 a month option, 10 a month option, and then a 30 a month option second from the left. So you want to do that every time if you're in software as a service. Now, you're going to end up with 30 to 100% higher ticket size specifically in that case than you're going to have if you only had one option. With software, it gives you more so the ability that I found to raise your prices or have a higher price than you would otherwise, then just increase the conversion rate. Because what it does is it gets the person that normally would have bought anyway, they were going to buy, and when they get to the price and they see it, it'll get them more willing to pay more if there wasn't the 4 options there. Versus what I talked about with the service, it's not so much about getting more out of the person, it just gets the price that is normal, get you a higher acceptance rate of it. It seems the service is higher quality when there's a much higher priced version next to it. So anyway, with that said, and branching off of that, you got a competitive matrix. Now this is something that I hear nobody talking about, and it's brilliant. I will pat myself on the back for this one. But if you are selling a premium product or service, okay, or luxury, if you will, high-end luxury, best way to use price anchoring and to help yourself out sell more of that product or service is to have a comparative matrix. This works, I will admit, better for products, but it could work for a service as well. List there all of your direct competitors or even indirect competitors, that is people that if you're selling at 5,000 and you have somebody selling at 1,000, still put that into your matrix. But what you're going to do on your landing page is literally, I see people did this back in the day, and I don't see anybody doing it at all anymore. And they don't do it exactly like this. But back in the day, they used to list all the other competitors. So if you were going to buy from somebody else, they would still get an affiliate commission from those other ones, which was smart. But What I haven't seen anybody do directly, other than us, is to have all the other options listed there, and you have a matrix, and people do matrices elsewhere, where they'll have, like, here's this competitor, this competitor, this competitor, and then they'll have all the traits, like speed, power, whatever, and show, like, what our product has that other products in the market don't have. But what I don't see them doing is they don't put the price of these other options. What they damn well should be doing is have the price of each other option there, so you can say, okay, well, clearly, this product here that I'm looking at that this site offers is more expensive, but it has 12% more horsepower and 37% more speed, and it allows you to justify spending the most money because you genuinely know it has all better stats. It's one thing to say to have the higher price and expect people to know because it's priced high that it's better. Much better. It's much better to have it all outline for the person so they can see all of their options all in one place, see why you're better, and with that, you can charge more for your solution there. Why? Because they can see it's better. Proven to them it's better than all other options in the market will allow you to charge more money than you would otherwise because they know for a fact it's better, and if they are wanting a premium option, which if you're selling more than anybody else in the market, you're the premium option. You're selling to the person who wants the premium option. So why don't you show them in black and white why you're the premium option, and when you do, you'll be able to charge even more than what you're charging right now, I promise you. And you may say, well, a lot of people wouldn't do this. It's like showing pricing on your site in general. People don't want to do it because they think, they have all these superstitions about it. Oh, maybe they won't call because it's too expensive or whatever. In this case, they think people are going to, oh, there's a competitor, I'm going to go check them out, and then they're going to leave. They don't want to give free advertising to their competitor. At the end of the day, the customer just wants to be able to make the right decision. If you're genuinely better, you damn well be telling them that you're better and why. Not just saying you're better, but physically proven why you're better. And included in that, damn well should be doing a side-by-side durability performance test between you and all other competitors in the market on a video and having that near your competitive matrix so you could prove to them and back up everything you just said there. And once they see all that, they don't have to do any more research at that point in time. They're willing to buy. They're going to be more willing to buy, and then along with that, they're willing to spend 30 to 100% more than what you had it priced at already once you've done all that work for them all in one place. They're grateful as hell that somebody did that for them. And if they're not willing to work with or buy the best, they're not buying anyway for what you said there. But for what you're trying to do, which is to get them to recognize you're the best, for the person who wants the best to find the best and get the best, it works beautifully. So price anchoring, by having all showing physically in terms of technical stats and whatnot why you're better, and then a high price that's much higher than all the other options that are on your list, it'll reinforce that you're the best. Because if you're 50% better stats than all the other competitors listed there, well, your price should be 50% more than all the other competitors. So if it's not 50% higher than the cheapest, second cheapest competitor, now you can make it 50% more expensive because you showed them it's 50% better. Damn well, it only makes sense that it's 50% more expensive, and I feel justified in spending this money because you told me why I should be spending all this money. Maybe this doesn't obviously work if you're way, way, way higher than anybody else and your stats don't back up your price margin between your price and the second most expensive option in your market. But if you're 50% better and you're not 50% higher than the second best option, raise your price 50% higher than your second best option or the second most expensive option, put the matrix there, and your conversion rates should stay the same than it was, and you'll just start getting more money per sale. That said, if you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or a comment on this channel within 24 hours time. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, you darn well should do that right now, because the information I'm giving you on this channel is coming from somebody with 20 years of marketing experience, 10 years running a PPC firm and managing hundreds of different ad accounts at any given time, or over the 10 years, I should say, to give you the working knowledge about what works and what doesn't work with Google, Facebook, any other online ads out there, which is unique because 99% of the information you find online about how to run ads successfully and make millions of dollars running ads is coming from people who don't run ads or run a couple ads and that's it, and it's all phony BS information. So So if you're going to pay attention to anything or anyone, you should put me at the top of your list here already if you're serious about making money with ads. Furthermore, if you like the channel, you're going to love my blog as well. If you haven't checked that out, you should check that out at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has step-by-step advice on how to use specific strategies that you can apply to your ad accounts today to get you a lot more results that are our go-tos to guarantee results for clients that are firm. Yes, we guarantee results for our clients that are advertising firm. And with that, if you don't want to do all the heavy lifting for yourself of using these strategies I talk about on this channel, on my blog, you can have us do it and just pay us and we'll get it, and it pays for itself, if you will. What we do is we say, if you're making $5,000 a month right now, we'll take you to 10. We'll start charging our monthly fee when we get you to 10. Really, we pay for our own way with it. The only catch is we got to know we can get great results with you before we begin. We don't take on just any client. But if you want to see if we can work together, reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com and I'd be happy to look over your stuff and see what the possibilities may potentially be and if we can work together, and then how much results we can give you. We'll give you some estimates on that. And as a side, if we've worked in your niche market before, even if you don't want to work with an ad agency, many people don't, you should use the winning ads and landing pages and campaign templates we have already developed for your niche market already, of which we can tell you the results we're already getting with those templates in your market, so you could just copy paste all those results in your own ad account. Save yourself, you would save yourself a ton of time, money, and aggravation going through what we had to often go through for years to get the results that you want in your niche market, but get it right away just by copying and pasting everything we got into your own ad account. We sell the templates for a one-time fee. At the very least, you should see what results we're getting in your niche market, because why not take the template if we already got the results you're looking for? We've got people using these templates to start other businesses even, whether they're selling leads, whether they wanted to get into e-commerce, they didn't really know how, and they wanted the easiest way in possible, and they used our template to sell an item that they could easily get in China that our client is selling in country A and they want to sell it in country B. It's like the easiest way to get into e-commerce. It's like having a business on training wheels, basically. Anyway, if you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. With that said, I'll wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching again, and I'll see you on the next one.